Ursula Heise's sense of place and sense of planet studies how people understand their relationship to the environment in a world that is increasingly connected through technology, culture, and globalization. She examines how ideas of local belonging can work together or come into conflict with awareness of global ecological issues. The book combines ideas from environmental studies, cultural theory, literature, and globalization studies to show how our imagination of the planet has changed in modern times. Hayes begins by explaining how globalization has become a key concept in modern thought. Many people today feel connected to the whole world through communication, travel, and media. This global awareness affects how we think about the environment. Earlier generations focused on local landscapes and specific ecosystems, but modern environmental problems like climate change, pollution, and nuclear risk are global in scale. Therefore, environmental thinking must move beyond local attachments and develop what she calls eco cosmopolitanism, a global form of environmental awareness and citizenship. The book's title reflects this shift. A sense of place emphasizes emotional and cultural connection to the local environments, our towns, rivers, or forests. Many environmental writers and activists believe this connection helps people care for nature. However, Hayes argues that an exclusive focus on the local can sometimes become limiting or even nostalgic. A sense of planet recognizes that ecological systems are interconnected across the globe. Pollution, migration, and climate patterns do not stop at borders. To face these challenges, we need an environmental consciousness that is both local and global. In the introduction, Hayes reviews major debates about identity and space in cultural theory. She discusses how thinkers like Benedict Anderson, Homi Bhabha, and James Clifford explores national and transnational forms of belonging. While some argue that globalization weakens local identities, others believe that local and national attachments can resist global capitalism. She identifies a tension between these views, a conceptual impasse, and suggests that environmentalism can help move beyond it by combining local and global perspectives. She then looks at the history of environmental thought since the 1960s. The early environmental movement uses powerful images of global unity, such as the famous Blue Planet photograph taken from the space and the Gaia hypothesis, which portrayed the Earth as a living organism. These images inspires people to see the planet as one interconnected system. However, the same period also saw apocalyptic fears about overpopulation, pollution, and nuclear disaster. Hayes notes that environmental imagination has always balanced hope for global harmony with fear of global collapse. In the first part of the book, World Wide Web's Imagining the Planet, Hayes studies how literature, art, and media represent global ecology. She begins with a discussion of Ursula K. Le Guin's story, Vaster Than Empires and More Slow, where an alien planet's plant life is connected through one vast network. She uses this story to show how science fiction can imagine ecological interconnectedness. She examines how new technologies like satellite imagery and global Earth change how we visualize the planet from a distant blue planet view to an interactive digital map that links local and global perspectives. In the later chapters, she explores different artistic and literary works that express this global imagination. John Brenner's novel Stand on Zanzibar and Karen Tay Yamashita's Through the Arc of the Rainforest use collage like forms to represent complex global systems. These experimental structures mirror the way environmental and cultural networks are interconnected. Such works move beyond local sense of place to develop an eco-cosmopolitan vision that includes multiple scales of life and geography. The second part of the book, Planet at Risk, focuses on how modern societies imagine danger and uncertainty through the idea of risk. Drawing on sociologist Ulrich Beck's concept of the World Risk Society, Hayes explains that globalization has created new forms of shared vulnerability. Risks such as nuclear accidents, toxic pollution, and climate change affect people across national boundaries. Literature and film play an important role in shaping how we understand and respond to these threats. Hayes studies novels like Don DeLillo's White Noise and Richard Powers' Gain, which portray communities affected by chemical contamination. These stories show how global corporate systems create local health and environmental risks. She also analyzes German novels written after the Chernobyl disaster, Christa Ulf's Storefall and Gabriele Uhmann's Dorf Tone, which explore how distant events transform everyday life. Through these examples, she shows how narratives of risk connect local experiences to global systems, revealing the emotional and cultural side of environmental crisis. In the conclusion, titled Some Like It Hot Climate Change and Eco Cosmopolitanism, Hayes turns to the challenge of climate change. She argues that this next step for environmental thought is to imagine humanity as part of a planetary community. Climate change shows that no region is isolated and global cooperation is essential. Literature, film, and media can help build this awareness by encouraging empathy and responsibility that extend beyond local places.